Welcome back, guys. So you guys can see at the bottom here, it's a massive, I'm going to keep that up for a short minute or so, not even a minute. You asked me to book this Mania, but you asked me that the finishes must be as Vince Russo, you didn't say in those words, but it must be as screwy as possible. Or that's at least how I took your comment. So I'm going to go through these and just make it the most insane finishes you can possibly think of. And if you can think of anything more insane, let me know in the comment section. So the first match is Big Show versus Mark Henry for the 24/7 championship. Now, this one to me, it's fought under hardcore rules. So what happens is both of them grab a chair and they immediately swing at each other. They hit the chairs and then the chairs kind of ricochet, hit themselves, and they fall both right next to each other. And out comes R-Truth and he pins them and he's the new 24/7 champion. Because that's just R-Truth's thing. Next is Jay versus Jimmy versus Solo. But Rikishi is the special guest ref. So Rikishi, of course, being their dad. They have a massive fight. Rikishi constantly counts a very slow 2 for everybody. And out comes Umaga. And Umaga gives the Samoan spike to Rikishi. Rikishi's out. Umaga puts on a referee shirt because, as you know in WWE, if you wear a referee shirt, you are the official referee. He puts on the referee shirt. He looks at Solo. And he nods his head, and they both spike a Uso, and Solo pins one of them for the W. Why not? Next one is Damian Priest versus Demon Finn Balor, and all I'm going to say is the Judgment Day interferes, and somehow we have a double disqualification. This one is so simple. They're going to have a match sooner than later. As of the time of recording this, I'm recording this the 5th of August. I'm recording this the week after SummerSlam. They're going to have a match very soon, in my opinion. I couldn't really come up with anything creative for the two of them, except Judgment Day interferes. Next is Gunther versus Ilya versus Drew versus Sheamus. And looking at this, I want this match in real life. Gunther, Ilya, Drew, and Sheamus. So they have a massive hoss fight, and why not? Imperium comes in, gives Gunther the upper hand, and Gunther walks away with the win. You also said I must say who pins who, but sure. Gunther pins Ilya so they can have a feud, and I'm happy with that. The next one is The Bar versus the Dudleys versus the Tongans, and it's a tag team championship match. So this is a triple threat. I'm going to make this a tornado tag, and this is a proper good fight until eventually the Dudleys get the upper hand and Devon get 2 tables, and he puts, why not, let's go for Cesaro through a table and one of the Tongans. Probably not Jacob Fatu. I'm not going to go for Jacob Fatu. He puts them through tables and the Dudleys win. Next one is Mustafa Ali with Babar Azam, I think he's a cricket player, versus Jinder Mahal and Aluka Barata, I don't know who that is, versus Shami and Shazil. I have no idea who most of those are. Babar Azam, I know who that is. Mustafa Ali, so it's basically Mustafa Ali and Jinder versus okay. Vince McMahon walks out and, oh no, can't say Vince McMahon, can I? I don't know. Triple H walks out and he fires Jinder Mahal on the spot. Jinder Mahal has to leave right then and there. And Mustafa Ali and Babar Azam gets the W because the other teams are not nearly as good as them. Why? That's just what I went for. Next one is Taker versus HBK versus Brock, but this is for the IC Championship. Now, if you know anything about Undertaker, this is the one championship he really wanted to win, but never did. So this starts off with Paul Bearer, Paul Heyman, and Jimmy Hart. So those are some of the original managers for these guys. They start off with a match to see who's going to be the special guest referee. And Paul Bearer wins because if you know anything about Paul Bearer, he used to be a wrestler, Percy Pringle. He was actually pretty solid back in the days. So Paul Bearer is the ref. He obviously, it's going to be shoddy booking in Undertaker's favor, and Undertaker, he can pin HBK because they can go on to a rivalry for the IC Championship, because I just want to see that. Next one is John Cena versus Logan Paul versus Joe Henry, and as I'm filming this, Joe Henry is not that much relevant anymore, and this is for the US Championship. So when the match starts, John Cena just goes, "You can see me," and he really disappears. Now this has to be a cinematic match. He really disappears, and he beats up Logan Paul, and Joe Henry without being there. So they basically do this whole thing where they take bumps against nobody. And then eventually John Cena just pins, let's go for Logan Paul, because I would like to see a feud between the two of them. He appears again because this is a cinematic match, and he pins Logan Paul, and he's the US champion. Next one is Stone Cold versus LA Knight in a tables match. Stone Cold comes out and he just tells LA Knight, you're just a cheap The Rock ripoff, because that's something Stone Cold would say. And I've beaten The Rock countless times, so I can beat you because you're just a bootleg Rock. And he puts LA through a table in a short match. Next one is me versus Ronald McDonald in a steel cage match. I don't know. Ronald McDonald somehow beats me in a steel cage match. I don't know what you want me to say about this one. Next one is Chad Gable versus Kurt Angle in a submissions match. So out comes Kurt Angle's son, Chad Gable's former partner, Jason Jordan, and he has to pick whose side he is on, and he ultimately picks his dad, and the two of them team up against Chad Gable, and Angle beats Gable with the ankle lock. That's the best I could come up with for this. Next is The Fiend and Bray Wyatt versus Uncle Howdy and Boogeyman. This is, I believe, a tag team championship match. So this has to be a cinematic match because you've got The Fiend and Bray Wyatt. So The Fiend and Bray Wyatt wins the cinematic match because Boogeyman somehow, he just gets that black goo and he, like projectile, vomits it all over Uncle Howdy, and Fiend and Bray Wyatt, they just get the upper hand. Next one is Triple H versus Batista versus Punk for the World Heavyweight Championship. Out comes Triple H with an actual golden shovel. Because it's triple threat match, he doesn't have to, well, there's no disqualification, but ultimately CM Punk gets the better of him, he gets the golden shovel, and he uses it against Triple H and Batista, and CM Punk wins. Next one is James Ellsworth versus Omos in a Hell in a Cell match. This one is the only one I could write nothing down for, because I honestly don't know what to say about this. Actually, the last couple, there's not much I could say about this. Almost obviously wins this one. He could fit James Ellsworth in his pocket. The next one is Samoa Joe versus Hashim from PUBG. Don't know who that is, never played PUBG, versus Roman Reigns. This one I'm going to keep simple. If you're still watching at this point, then you realize that I don't know what to say anymore. Easy, Roman Reigns wins this one. And lastly, it's The Rock versus Cody Rhodes for the WWE Championship. And The Rock finishes his story and he beats Cody Rhodes. And that's all I could come up with for this one. I hope you guys enjoyed this. Until next time, peace.